Hi, and welcome to the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable, where we are transcending the status quo. I'm your host, Tonae Star, and today we're doing a deep dive into the. Okay, cut, start again.
Okay.
Sorry. Doing a deep dive. Okay, to the world of entrepreneurship. Why did you go blank? Okay. All right, last time I won't keep starting over. Here we go. Just be natural into it, okay? Hi, welcome to the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable. I'm your host, Tonae Star, and today we're doing a deep dive into entrepreneurship, especially for those of you who are just starting the journey. Whether you've recently launched your business or you're contemplating taking that leap of faith, okay? This episode, it's just for you. So today we're joined at the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable by Guil
Dormeus.
Excuse me, Guil Dormeus.
Dormeus.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Guil is a content creator. He is a podcast and he's a photographer. So thank you for joining us, Guil.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Give us a little bit of insight. Tell us about yourself as a content creator.
Well, I'm Gil. I'm a content creator located in South Florida, and I help other people create content. The content creator world can be very daunting and very difficult. And I remember when I first started, I had a team of mentors that pretty much walked me through everything. And I took that experience and I pretty much applied it to what I do now, which is teach people like you content creation, podcasting, photography, and anything that I'm pretty much passionate about. I love to pass it along to people.
And thank you for passing that along. If you guys didn't know, we're here in Gil's actual studio. So as he said, he passes his gifts along, and I had the opportunity to be able to record this episode in his studio. So thank you for that. So Gil, let's get into this entrepreneurial thing. When you So like every entrepreneur, right? Every journey begins with an idea, that spark that initiates the desires inside of you, right? So tell us, what was that moment of inspiration for you? When did you realize you wanted to birth a business? Like what was it for you that ignited you?
I mean, I've always been passionate about content creating. I remember I sat down with someone. He's a big time makeup artist and down here in South Florida.
Makeup artist?
He's a makeup artist.
Okay.
Yeah, I met him on a photo shoot and I just was assisting the main photographer. And the guy looked at me as like, the makeup artist, like, dude, you know a lot. Let's grab coffee. Maybe you can, talk to me about, photography and YouTube and all that stuff. Mind you, this gentleman had like 100,000 subscribers, but yeah, he didn't understand content creation. He did not know how to edit in Final Cut Pro, iMovie. So I sat down with him for maybe like 2 hours, just showing him how to do everything. He paid me. And mind you, this is like 2013. So he paid me, and I'm like, what's this? He's like, you taught me something, and I'm going to pay you. It's a transaction. I was like, wait a minute, I can get paid to teach people? That's weird. He's like, yeah. Now I'm your first client. Now I better not see you do free consultations. And I was like, what's a consultation? He's like, this is what this is, a consultation. Then I started to pretty much apply that to my business, which is photography. And I started to teach people that. But it took everything that I've ever done business wise. I had somebody to pretty much guide me and tell me, hey, try it this way. This is what I'm doing. Because he does makeup consultation. He teach people how to apply makeup and all this stuff in Miami. And he took what he knew and pretty much told me, here, this is how I would copy and paste what I know to your business. And that's pretty much it. So everything that I've ever done, I have had people help me. Yeah. So that's to answer that question.
Okay, so that initial spark came after this gentleman said, look, you helped me you realized it could be a business. And
Yeah.
so then you took it to that next
Yep.
endeavor. That's a beautiful thing, to be able to take those initial steps and then turn it into a concept to a potential
Yeah.
business. That
And that's the thing too, because after that initial conversation, I then reevaluated my entire, business. Because before I wanted to become a photographer, and I realized, I mean, I'm still a
Yeah, I was
photographer,
gonna say you're still doing
but I
photography,
wanted to
right?
do like a photography business. But I realized that I'm the business. It's me. And then sitting down with him, sitting down with my mentors, and I realized everything could be, you can have your passion, you have your gift, but you can also monetize it in a way. The knowledge that you have, the time that you spent learning how to do hair, learning how to apply nails, massage, all that is time that you invested, and you could then return, put a price on it, because that's your gift to the world. That's your gift to somebody. And it really just took someone outside of my life to tell me that. And it's just like, that's insane. But that's what people do all the time. But
It is insane, because that's the whole concept of the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable. As a spiritualist myself, we're creatives, and we do it in the aspect of just helping people. That's been my whole goal. I do tarot readings and have some jewelries that are set in crystals. Okay, for me, it's just a passion. So I was in the process of wanting to figure out, well, how do I turn this into a business? Okay, yeah, I love doing tarot readings, and there are many spiritualists that I know that they just do what they do, but when it comes to making it a business and doing the business side of it, it's not always that easy. So that's what I want to go into next. How did you navigate those early challenges, like being that beginner entrepreneur, recognizing that you wanted to now make this a business? It comes with its own set of challenges, from overcoming the self-doubt and the fear, because you're like, okay, yeah, I have this gift and I had this one guy pay me, but now how did you manage that possible fear of failure? Like,
there's a guy on YouTube. He's a content creator, podcaster, entrepreneur named Ty Turner. He has a company called Flash Film Academy. He's based out in Dallas, and I enrolled in his courses. I enrolled in his. I bought some of his courses. I bought a lot of his packs. Just small business content creator packs that he would sell. And I remember him in one of the modules talked about something called a beta client. Now,
beta client?
like a beta, like
Okay.
alpha, beta.
Okay.
So what a beta client is, once I have a concept or an idea, like I said, I wanted to start content creator consultations. Mind you, I don't have any experience in it. It would be asinine for me to get $75 from this gentleman back in 2013 and say, well, now I'm going to charge people $200. I don't have any experience in consulting. So what I did was I contacted a lot of my close friends, recent models, events, brides, grooms who I photographed for. And I said, hey, are any of y'all interested in content creation? Yeah, we are. And I was like, great, come to my house. We sat in here and I taught them for maybe an hour or two via Zoom. I think it was also during the pandemic, a little afterwards too. So during Zoom, in person at coffee shops, and I tried to understand what is the best effective way for me to listen to your problem and apply it and give you like a solution. And I did that for maybe sometimes free, sometimes for like a half of what I charged the guy. And what I ended up doing was creating a pattern, a routine, and a system, most importantly, so that when I then charge people $200 for a consultation, they're getting a full-fledged system and they understand what they got out of it. I remember when I did my first consultation after the makeup artist, the gentleman,
Right.
people were like, okay, well, do you have anything to sell me after this? I was like, oh no, I don't have anything to sell. Now when I do a
They
consultation,
ask you to?
yeah, like do I have a course? Do I have resources? Do I have a guide? Do I have templates? Do I, because people,
Okay, so that was a hurdle you
that was a
had
hurt.
to
It was a hurdle,
overcome as
but
a
it's because
newcomer.
exactly. So it's just like, if I didn't do the beta client test, I would not have expected somebody to say, well, after you taught me how to become a photographer and edit, Do you have presets, which are like filters? Okay, well, now when somebody sits down with me, I have presets ready to go. I have video courses. I have how to edit guides. So that way, when we sit down, it's $200 for the sit down, but now I have all these extra add-ons, and I learned that through beta clients. So that's how I was able to, go over that hurdle, is testing it out with my current clientele, friends or family. That way, when the stranger comes up, I'm not blindsided by, hey, do you sell this? I'm like, I do.
Okay, so navigating those challenges, when you realize that, okay, I've done this beta testing. I see that it's a viable thing that can happen. It can occur. It can be successful. The challenge then is, how do you, because a lot of people, that they're like, that's a lie. You did presets. You had to come up with this. As a spiritualist, that's some of the things. They're like, look, I do the readings. What else am I going to offer? How do
There's so
I?
much to offer. I could tell you 20 things for tarot card reading, and not knowing anything about that community.
Sure,
I could give
enlighten the public, because they're going to be the ones that are listening to this.
Well, we met at the podcast summit,
Right.
and after listening to you and talking about the spiritual culture, I said, well, what are some? And that's just how my brain works. I'm very empathic. All I want to do is help people. That's it. That's all I care for. And after talking to,
which is why I think we connected, because that's what the readings are all about. They're to help others. We assist you when you have a question, and it's by tapping into that energetic realm. So I think that's why we connected.
Exactly. I agree too. So one way I could figure out how you can monetize your YouTube channel, your podcast, is creating custom tarot cards. And there are so many different ways that you can do it. With AI now, you can actually get a specific design and create multiple tarot cards. There are tarot card books that you can write. You can write different books about moon signs, horoscopes. There are so many different things that you could do. You could do journals. There's software programs like BookBolt where you can create a journal and have people write it. You can have an empty book. I know there's a photographer, shout out to Connor. He basically created a book that is empty. And it's just like, it says 100 YouTube ideas, but you have to fill it. It's so fantastic. Yeah. You fill it in, and it's so fantastic, but it's, right now there's something called shadow work.
Oh yeah.
So definitely. Shadow work right now. And I'm not into that, but I'm a content creator, and I can't help but like my wheels start spinning. Why don't a lot of these spiritualists come out with shadow work books? And there are so many different strategies. I wouldn't say strategies, but there's so many different types of shadow work, or things that are like connected to it. You can use ChatGPT and say, what's an alternative to shadow work? Or there could be sunlight play or something like that, and then you can say, well, instead of everybody's doing shadow work, I'm going to go in this direction. And for me, when I see trends in the spiritual world, when I see people doing tarot card, look at what they're doing. Do something different. Figure out if you can do it live with people and have people call in. There's so many different ways.
Yeah. What if you're I don't want to say the shy one, like you know that you want to help, because there are readers that love to be on camera and they're out there and they show everything. And then there are some that just have the camera focused down on the table, and the most you'll ever see are their hands.
So what's one thing that I will suggest you do is that create a AI avatar of yourself. You take a photo of yourself and have Midjourney. You can use a program called Ideogram. Ideogram is a new AI tool. It's really good, and it's free.
Yeah, I haven't used that one.
So you can turn your face into a cartoon character, and then you can use a program like 11 Labs and find a voice, and that create a voice specific avatar. It doesn't have to necessarily be your voice. It can be a real voice of a person, and that cartoon character now has a voice. You go to a website called d-id.com. You upload that voice of the tarot card cartoon character, upload the photo of that AI avatar of yourself, combine them together in d-id.com, and you can technically create a cartoon character and now have a faceless YouTube channel doing readings.
I like that, but I don't like that, Guil.
Why?
I like that because, yes, we're using AI, but I don't like that because it then, and this is my own little, this is going off track, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go with it anyway. Because we're getting to a point where you don't even know what, like, AI is so integrated. Do you know what I mean? But that's off topic and that's my own little thing. So I'm not going to stray off topic. I'm going to stay where I am. And what I want to get into is, okay, so now that you've had all of these great ideas and you're like, okay, this is good. This is a business. I can make this happen. Tell us then, what actions did you take to build a solid groundwork? Like, did you create the business plan, or did you go into target audience marketing? Did you decide to just go to set up an LLC? What did you do to decide now, okay, I need to set the groundwork to make this an actual firm foundation for what I want to do?
I just had a business plan. It wasn't thought out.
You
Created an
actually
LLC.
wrote it out, a business
I
plan?
wrote it out, business plan. I wrote it on my board a couple of years ago. And I got an LLC. I got an LLC and didn't make any money right away.
Right.
You know, it was really tough. And then during the pandemic, I ended up getting a photography podcast studio, which was great. And I was able to then start leveraging the LLC, start leveraging my knowledge and create some honest
Take us
income.
back. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Take us back, because those are big jumps. So you decided from the idea. First, most people don't even know how to put a business plan together. So you just research and decided,
Did
or you
research.
just wrote like your ideas down for the
I
business?
sat down with one of my good friends and mentors, and two of them actually asked them how they did it.
Okay.
So actually speaking to other people, it's really good to sit down with yourself and come up with the business plan, but we don't know what we're doing. It's really good to find people who are actually doing it.
You actually answered my next question. I was
Yeah.
going to go into mentorship and networking, but
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you. So continue. What
Yeah,
you were
so I
saying.
have two good friends who I know personally that I went to high school with, people that I've worked with, like physically worked with at work, who are self-made entrepreneurs who do this full time. And I have access to them. Hey, how did you do this? If you were in this situation, which I know you were a couple of years ago, what is it like? And then the beautiful thing is, I understand that I have to be an asset. Because imagine if they're continuously being asked by me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I have nothing to offer them. Well, hey, Gil, you're hitting me up. Do you know any AI tools? Do you know what's the best way to navigate this? Hey, can you help me build a PC? So I make myself an asset to where I'm in these rooms with these people and they say, Gil doesn't have he doesn't have a lot of followers, but Gil's got knowledge and he has resources. Gil has the knowledge and the information to execute what I need from him. So I'm going to help him as much as I can because he's an asset. Now imagine if I was just, sitting around seeing all my friends grow and progress and just be envious, jealous, and just lazy. And I say, hey, can you tell me how to do this? They're like, why do you have my number? But it's the God honest truth. Like you have to honestly look at yourself and say, are you an asset? Because it's great to have a mentor, but if you're like, I always say this, if you can't be used, you're useless.
If you can't be used, you're useless. Okay, I get that concept of what you're saying. I would call it more, I guess, in a more PC term, an energy exchange. You offer your skills, talents, and abilities, whatever they may be. If you have the knowledge, it's the knowledge. If it's the equipment, then it's the equipment. I'm so weird, but everybody's got their own thing. So I don't like to feel like I'm using somebody or even being used, but I don't mind creating an energy exchange, meaning thank you for your time and your assistance, whatever you have, your skill set, your abilities, your speech, even. Maybe you have the ability to speak to someone where I might be shy in that aspect, or like you said, you're the techie guy and you have that skill set, and he does have the skill set for the text, just in case you guys didn't know. And speaking of text, since we're already on that, Guil, why don't you tell us in this digital age of technology today, then and how AI is such a powerful tool for technology, and especially now, even in business. You were already giving us some insight from that. Tell me then, what are some of the most valuable tech tools you found that became like invaluable to you in business?
ChatGPT is underrated, and the reason why, like a lot of people, they'll see or hear about ChatGPT and they'll use it. They'll say, "How tall was Muhammad Ali? How many punches did Muhammad Ali throw?" And it's like it's so elementary. Yeah. And the thing is, we don't realize how good it is because we're using the wrong prompts. Okay. Now, I use ChatGPT almost every day for almost any and everything, but I don't rely on it to like live my life. I'm not like, what should I eat today, ChatGPT? I would ask
for
it
information.
But here's the thing. I would ask it, what is the most nutritional thing to eat after having fasted for 17 hours? And it would give me a list. What is the most, because I'll look at some of the things I have in front of me. Well, I have banana, dragon fruit, kiwi, and oat milk. What's the most nutritional thing that I could consume out of these ingredients? And it'll tell me. But that's if I ask it that. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, a lot of people, they don't ask ChatGPT those things. I can ask it I actually created a TikTok account where I had, at one point, maybe like a couple weeks ago, I got injured. I had a horrible back pain. And I don't know what happened. It was some inflammation, whatever the case was, herniated disc. And I asked ChatGPT, what is the most healthiest way, natural way to lower inflammation? And it made me create some smoothie, and it involved dragon fruit and a bunch of other things. And I was like, this is cool. I wonder if I could just create an account on this, a faceless YouTube channel where I have an AI cartoon voice to pretty much not only provide valuable information, but provide entertainment. This is a cartoon character who looks like me, who has my voice, but is not necessarily me. And a lot of people would say, I would never have thought of that. But the thing is, ChatGPT is the tool that I use to do all of that. Not only the recipes, but also how to deliver it and what's the best, how long the video should be. You ask ChatGPT all of that. Hey, here's my video script. How long can this be? How long should this be for a TikTok video or YouTube short? And it'll tell you everything. And it's the most underrated tool because people don't know how to use it.
Okay, so that would be one of your recommendations for our audience today. If you guys don't have ChatGPT, Guil is recommending it as a fundamental tool.
Yeah, it's underrated. A lot of people, they just don't know how to use it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us some insight on that. And I'm glad you're feeling better after you are feeling better.
I am feeling better. I'm feeling better now. I'm podcasting. So
that's what's up.
Anytime I'm creating
content.
I
can assist in you feeling better. Yeah. Okay, great. So then I want to get into something. You were able to set the foundation. You even found some techie tools to assist you. Well, what about when there are mistakes? Because mistakes are inevitable, right? Yeah. And they can be valuable lessons, right? But how? Like, share some of the moments that you were able to demonstrate your resiliency and your perseverance in turning those mistakes or those setbacks into stepping stones.
There's always going to be mistakes. My brain always works on mitigating mistakes and not allowing mistakes to happen. Right now, for example, I have 3 pieces of equipment running. Mm-hmm. I have my camera, which is connected to the computer, and it's recording the video via an SD card. Right. I have a Rodecaster Pro, which is connected to the computer.
The Rodecasters are the mics, right?
The Rodecaster is this device that takes the audio from the mics, and it's recording on it. The Rodecaster Pro has a hard drive in there, and it's recording the audio in case something happens. And also, I have the camera is connected to the computer,
right?
And the computer is recording what the camera sees.
See all that tech and stuff, y'all?
Now the Rodecaster Pro is connected to the computer, and the computer is recording what the Rodecaster Pro is hearing. Mm-hmm. So now if, heaven forbid, camera comes crashing down and stops recording, or it catches on fire.
Right.
I still have the footage because it was being sent to the computer through a program called Ecamm. And Ecamm is also recording the audio if the Rodecaster Pro decides to run out of hard drive space or overheat for whatever reason. The computer will still have the recorded audio. So it's backup on backup.
Have any of that because you know all of that now, right?
I still do it. So back in the day, let's go way back 2013.
Yeah, because I was going to give myself as an example. I have my little laptop here, as you guys see. And unfortunately, I was recording a video the other day. And I was like all in the middle of a reading, right? And my computer was like, recording stopped. You don't have enough storage on your device anymore. And I was like, crap. And I didn't have an SD card or anything.
Yeah.
So those kind of moments, like where you're just kind of up the creek without a pedal. How did you take those moments? And because right now you got it all set up. You got this, that backs up this, that backs up that, that backs up this.
Yeah.
What about those moments where you're in your beginning phase and you're like, you didn't have the road to do this, and you know what I mean?
The road just came out maybe 5 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And like 4 years ago, what I used to do is record on the camera itself.
Okay.
And I had a device, looked like a Game Boy. It's called the Zoom H4n. And what that would do is I used to do seminars for people, and I'll have the guy wear a suit and the thing will be in his pocket recording audio as a backup, as a laugh.
Smart.
And the backup is something that I learned because you lose files.
Files
corrupt.
Or I had a whole video I uploaded it and everything, and then I went back just to put in a few little comments in the description and everything, and found out the whole video didn't have audio. User error because I never unclicked the mic button, or somehow I clicked the mic button on the microphone, but I did a whole hour video and there was no audio to the video.
One of the best ways actually, quick story. I didn't have a mic one of these days. I was shooting Rick Ross, a radio ad. And I didn't bring my podcast mic. I didn't bring my interview mic, but I had my iPhone 7. And I use a MacBook Air, a computer that costs maybe $300, $400 now. And this is a really old one. This is like years ago. And I used a free program called Audacity. I've been using Audacity since I was a kid. Yeah, and it's a free, it's great. And I recorded Rick Ross with my iPhone and airdropped it to my computer and edited it on Audacity. So free.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if you're recording an interview, use your phone and use the voice memo app. Keep your phone really close to you and like away from the camera, and maybe on airplane mode so that nobody calls you and interrupts you. And hit record, and you can record your voice through the voice memo app. Have your computer or your camera recording yourself, and if anything were to happen, you still have a backup audio.
Okay, so what I'm gleaning from this is you found.
There's always a way. No excuse. There's always a way. I mean,
and so your way was to learn to back it up through another way, or to have multiple backups. Yeah. Like that was what you. That's what I'm taking
even
from
like
that.
With cameras now. My first full frame camera. Mm-hmm. Some people in listening to this might know.
What do you call a full frame camera?
So full frame means the sensor is a lot bigger and has a lot more professional features.
Okay.
So the sensor allows more light, so the pictures could be, relatively better quality, but not really.
Okay.
It just is a better camera overall, in my opinion. And most full frame cameras have 2 SD card slots. Most cameras have one.
One, right.
So the second one is a redundant one, or it could be they record simultaneously. So I could be recording this podcast in 2 SD cards. The video goes to both. Or if I'm taking photos, I'm doing a photo shoot, I can have photos go to one SD card and the other one go to the other one.
Okay.
So it's basically a backup. And the thing about content creation or anything in the world, you always have to have a backup plan.
So that's what we're taking from that. In order to take those hurdles, start to find the backup plan. Yeah. What can you do to make sure if A goes wrong? And sometimes you don't know until you get in the middle of it that, okay, wow, this went wrong. Now I need to have a second SD card or something.
Let me tell you one thing. So recently I just shot a really important video for a client, and this microphone $400 microphone was not working. I was like really aggravated, and I didn't notice it until I was editing or until I was at the end of the video, and I was like, crud. But the cameras are always rolling. The cameras are rolling, and the cameras have audio. Mind you, they won't be the best audio, but there's a free software AI tool called podcast.adobe.com, and there's that one, and there's another one called Auphonic. You can upload the audio from the camera, and it'll clean it up, and it'll sound professional. The client didn't even know that the audio was from over there, and they're like, "Oh my God, this sounds great. This looks great." They don't care, but it's come to a point in time where there is no excuse other than you are ignorant. You don't know.
Well, ignorance isn't a bad thing. You
Ignorance
just
is a
don't
bad
know
thing.
what you know. Because if you don't know what you don't know, Gil, you don't know what you don't know. And so until
we're living, it's a war. Content creation is a war. And the enemy is ignorance.
Oh,
because we're entering the battlefield every single day. Like, you have an amazing content creation channel doing tarot reading and everything else. And it's a battlefield. And the battlefield
but some people on the battlefield, now remember, you got different positions on the battlefield, Gil, now. So the captain gives the orders. They don't necessarily go out and charge ahead. You know what I'm saying?
The captain is the algorithm and the platforms. The captain is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google. That's the captain, and they give out the algorithms.
No,
yes,
they're not the captain. You're the captain, because without you, those algorithms or whatever have nothing to do. So you're the content creator, are the captain. They're your soldiers. You put them to work. You put these platforms to work. Don't let them take control of.
I guess you could look at it like
that. And that's my thing with AI, because a lot of people are giving their power. Now we're getting all off topic, but I'm gonna roll with this because this is good. A lot of people are giving their power over to AI. No, you're AI, artificial. You're the real. You're the thing. You're what makes it go. You're the captain of the ship. So yes, I'm so thankful for ChatGPT and all of those tools, but they exist simply because they're learning from the real, from us. Yeah. So that's my thing, that I find that there's this balance, imbalance is what I want to say, that's happening. Yeah. And it's because my mind gets all weirded out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched too many movies, I guess, where we see where AI and these robots and things are heading. Now I know we're totally off topic right here, but I'm rolling with this because it keeps kind of rearing its head in there. And sometimes you gotta go with the flow. See, that's a part of being real. As an AI, you would have to follow the program and stick with the program. But because we're real, we can roll with the flow of things. So that's my thing that I'm noticing, even when it comes to youth in school, because I work with clients also. You know that I part-time am a nail tech, and I have these young ladies that'll sit at my table and I'll talk to them, Gil. And you made a valuable point when you said there should be a war on ignorance. But what I find happening is that ignorance is becoming more prevalent. Why do I say this? Is because people aren't learning thought processes or how to think through a solution. They're like, oh, I can get this to do it for me. I can get this AI to do it for me. And so I'm having a regular conversation where it just takes common sense for some things. And when I'm sitting with the youth, it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. You know, I was listening to this guy named Scott Galloway, and he talked about how nowadays kids don't go out and get hurt.
That's true.
It's like, he said, you know, back in the day, I used to go missing. And then you just go, you know, come home scuffed up, got bloody feet, you know, glass, stepping on glass.
One rule, be home before the street lights came on.
Yeah, and you just get lost, hang out with friends. You know, I'm not condoning crime, but man, I used to do a lot of crazy stuff as a kid. True story.
I didn't do crime, but I had some.
So I was around 9 years old, and I saw the AT&T guy like installing cable.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, okay. So he's just doing like that. Okay, great. My dad worked really early in the morning. My mom drove him to work. I took my neighbor's like high ladder. I didn't know if it was insulated or not. I could have got electrocuted. Right. Not 9 years old. Woke up 3 in the morning. Put the ladder up with the flashlight, install cable in my house.
See, you've always been techie, because most of us would not have any idea.
We had cable for years.
And mom and dad were not mad.
They did not know.
Really?
They just didn't care.
They didn't watch the TV?
No, not my parents just go to work and that's it. They didn't really know.
Wow.
So it just was one of those things where I was always inquisitive. I was always interested. I always paid attention.
Yeah.
And I had common sense.
See?
Yeah.
Common sense.
But kids nowadays, oh wait, no, we're not climbing the ladder. We're not waking up early.
Right.
We're not doing it. We're on social media. Right. And then
I don't even want to sweep the floor. Give me one of those little robots that can do it for me.
But here's another thing that I don't understand about social media nowadays. I remember when we were younger, we'd watch Bill Nye the Science Guy, and it'll be a particular topic. Nova, it'll be a particular topic. We're learning everything about bar stools, how they're made, what nails to use, what type of wood that is made, how you sand it, and then that's it. And we're obsessed with bar stools for months. Now, kids, it's bar stools, Pokemon, sandals, Crocs, like all in one reel on social media. You don't know what to focus on.
Right. And so then you don't get a full episode. You get that
snippet.
Adrenaline snippet. Thank you. That's
you
the
just
word
get
I was looking for.
With Instagram now, there's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. It's short. Yeah. It's just quick. Ha 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 ha. Next. Ha 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 ha. I remember.
And I'm getting into it. I'm not gonna.
I can't see how. I mean, I understand now why podcasting is the way that it is now, and a lot of people aren't really looking into or studying it because most people, everything is like real quick. I just want to do this. I'm like, dude, but there's so much to learn, and I'm so happy that I got into it. Like when it was like the Wild Wild West, where you can just try this, you read up on this. Like I'm on Reddit all the time.
See, but you're willing to take that time, common sense wise, to work through things. I think now, especially with AI, that that's too much time. It's taking too long. They're used to shorts and things like that. So where you would have to sit and come up with the business plan and then come up with the next step. A lot of the next generation are not there. They're just like, I can put this into AI and then they'll create it for me.
It's sad. I don't remember. I don't know if I made this up or I heard this somewhere. It said somebody said that the microwave is too long for people nowadays.
Wow.
And then when you think about it, it's like, oh my God, there've been times where I'm like, hurry up. And I'm like, wait, this is faster. And it's like a lot of people, they want that quick gratification, that quick, and social media, Twitter, Instagram, like there is no substance to it. You make a post, somebody like it, great. I'm gratified. Right. Great. And that's it. And you put it away.
I'm going to go totally on a tangent, but this is my podcast, so I could do what I want. So let's get into something a little deeper. We may end up cutting this and I might use it for another segment. That instant gratification. And I'm going to go somewhere, especially being that you're married and you have a beautiful wife. Is it okay for me to say?
Oh, yeah, of course. We could talk. Yeah.
Guil has a beautiful wife. He's married, right? Do you mind if I ask how long you've been married?
We've been married for 12 years and we've been together 14.
Wow. Okay, 14 years. So being that we're in this microwave age, it's even happening with relationships now. People want that instant gratification.
The rush.
Right. Like they don't even want to get to know a person anymore. If you had to wait 3 months to have sex, some men feel like that's too long.
Yeah. Yep. And my whole thing is most relationships nowadays aren't really about the relationship. It's more so is like what the person can get out of it.
Right. Yeah. What can she do for me? What does she have? Does he have that bread? What can you get for him? And then they don't really take the time to even know a person. You're going to jump into bed and actually risk your life with someone, and you haven't even found out how long the last person they've slept with is. Yeah. Are they still involved with their kid's mom or father? Or
I guess you could say I'm more so spiritual aware. I don't want to say spiritual, but I'm aware of there are energies and things in the world that make sense. And you can't jump into a relationship with someone and you be unequally yoked. So somebody might be dealing with a spirit wife or a spirit husband, and you jump into a relationship with them and they might have actual wives or actual husbands and spirit wives and spirit husbands and things attached to them, and you jump into a relationship with them without vetting them, without like taking your time. You just say, oh, Russia, he likes me. He likes 18 of my posts. 18's my number. I'm jumping right. I'm jumping right into bed with him. And then you're like, why is my life so bad? Why am I waking up with scars? Why is my tires always slashing? You're like, oh, I didn't take the time to vet this person. We are unequally yoked, but it's too late now. I have a child. Now this child is born under the worst circumstances, and it's not his or her fault. And the child grows up with this generational curse, not aware of the fact that my mother and father disrespected my existence by being unresponsible.
Okay, wow. Now you hit two aspects. Now we just took a whole nother turn, because there's something in the spiritual community that maybe a lot don't even know about, and far more the youth don't even think about, because with this sexualized society that we live in today, if you listen to music, it's all about shake that thing, get that thing, or how her mouth feel, what she gotta do.
Right.
It's like that, right? Okay, so you hit something. You said spirit wife or spirit husband.
Mm-hmm. You're surprised that I know that.
Yes, I actually am. I truly am, because that's actually more to me of an older concept. And it's also where, like you said, that concept from the Bible comes from being unequally yoked. Now, spiritualism and Bible are two different things, but they have a lot of intricacies that work together. Right. A lot of parallels. Thank you. And so, being that you know what a spirit wife or husband is, do you have any insight you would like to share with the audience, with the collective about that?
I don't know too much
about
but
it.
I understand that there are things that end up happening when you end up having a contract or relationship with someone. And a lot of times we have contracts or relationships with things outside of us without us even knowing.
Right.
And we end up playing with thoughts and ideas in our minds. And it's like, we think it's for play. And then it's like, it's for real.
Because the spiritual realm, and what he's getting at is that the spiritual realm is more real than what you actually see in your 3D. There are things that are happening energetically, I will say, that actually affect what your 3D realm is showing you. The reason that certain things are appearing to you and for you in your life is because of what's happening in the spiritual realm, whether you know it or not. And there's always something, if you think about it, that's interacting with you. You may not know that, but I want to share that with you. And if you want to think of it, or an illustration of it, it's that good angel on one shoulder, as we see in cartoons, and the bad angel on the other. There are unseen forces that interact with you, that give little whispers, whether you know it or not. And so I'm glad we took the podcast in this way, because, and we may end up just cutting this into, I may end up finding a way to cut it into snippets and make it into another, episode or show or something like that. I may just leave it all together, but I wanted to say, I'm glad we kind of touched on that, because this is the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable, and
it found its way to get in there.
Yeah, and we're all things sacred. So I will like to come back though and let us go and explore that even further. I mean, even if you don't know things about it, we can bounce ideas off of each other and do things like that. But coming back to, and because I know our time is kind of winding down, I want to pull us back in together for a minute and then talk about balancing your passions, like your passion with photography and being a content creator, with practicality. Passion fuels the entrepreneurial spirit. You have this passion, you know you want to do it. It's photography. You knew you wanted to help other people, but how did you it takes practicality to actually ensure the sustainability of it all. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, how did you strike that balance between flowing from your passions and then making practical decisions that will align with your passions?
I learned this from Tony Gaskin. Tony Gaskin is a motivational speaker. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, I've heard some of his
Yeah,
stuff.
he talked about, in one of his courses, he talked about identifying the difference between a passion and a gift.
Okay.
So your gifts are things that are innately given to you. Like you have your gift, like you spoke about becoming your own loctician, like doing your sister lot. That's a gift. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't have the willingness to do that. And you might have a passion for skateboarding. You know, it's not your gift, but you love skateboarding. And for me, what I had to learn was I have a gift for drawing, writing, or just taking thoughts and ideas from my head or from other people's head and producing it into drawings, writings, content, video, podcasts. And I have just so happened to have a passion for creating content. So when those two meet together, as Tony would say, as they married themselves, I then could bring forth like something great, like a podcast production company or comic books. I used to draw comic books all through high school. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I had a clothing line with my friends, and it dealt for me drawing designs and put it in there. I have a passion for biking. I love cycling. I have a bike. I love riding bikes, but it doesn't really line up with my gifts. Okay. So I would basically, I'll do that on my spare time. I have a passion for, RPGs, which are role-playing games, but it doesn't line up with my gifts.
Role-playing games?
Yeah, role-playing games. And my favorite right now is Baldur's Gate, which is fantastic. I don't really play too much because I don't have the time, but I make sure they line up. Do I have time to find a way to mesh these together? They're like opposite Legos. If they don't really click, me trying to click them could take a week, a month, trying to find ways to make them work. That's time that could be better spent on a gift and a passion that works together. So that's what I end up doing, is finding what I'm passionate about and finding out, does this line up with my gifts? I could probably figure out a way to do it. Like there's a program called Zwift. It's I have my bike and I'm able to connect it to this thing called a smart trainer. I could put my bike and it's like, it takes the back wheel, and now I'm able to pedal and connect it to my TV or computer, and it creates a avatar.
You mean an exercise bike?
Like an actual bike.
You take an actual bike and do what with it?
Remove the back wheel.
Okay.
And I can put this thing called a smart trainer in the back wheel, and connect the bike chain to it. And I can pedal, and it tells me how fast or how hard I'm pedaling. And it's an exercise. It pretty much turns your bike into an exercise
bike. Okay, I
makes it smart, and you end up playing a video game where you can bike for miles and join with friends. And it's really dope.
Okay, so you get more into your riding. More into your riding. More.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good use of AI.
Exactly. But it's a pretty old concept. And one of the ways that I was trying to mesh that passion with content creation was do Twitch, where I'm biking. Okay. But I'm just like, I'm not that passionate into it. But just let you know that's my whole process. Right. I find my passion and I have access to my gift. Does this line up? Right. Nah, send it out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I like that. Okay. Well, all right. So then you recognize then when you're on this entrepreneurial journey, then that there are highs and there are lows. Yeah. Like if you had to put something to the side, then tell us, with your journey and the highs and the lows, what motivates you during the challenges, like during those challenging times? What strategies do you take to maintain like a positive mindset?
My wife motivates me.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she does. And the strategies that I take is basically, I don't want to get stressed, because if I'm not good like that, she's not going to be good. And if she's not going to be good, she's going to be bad for everyone around her.
And you don't think things naturally just come up that kind of stress you, or you just put it down? Like, what do you mean not getting stressed? Because for someone who's a natural creative, coming into trying to figure out the business or the tech side of it might be something that totally stresses them out.
So to me, what's easy to stress me, because I'm easily stressed, I say no to specific things. Okay. Like if a client were to say, hey, I need to do a 8-day seminar, I'm like, no. I've done it before. So
you're willing to use your NO power.
I've done it before. Yes. Yeah. I've done those things before, and I saw what it ended up bringing me. And it gave me money. It gave me a great network, but then I asked myself, for those weeks or those days where I was basically useless to my wife, how did that make me feel? How did that make her feel? I'm like, you know what? No.
Okay, so that's interesting. Learning the power of no,
Mm-hmm.
like not doing anything just for money.
Yes.
Because that's what stresses a lot of people out. They feel like they got to get the money. It's funny you said that. On my way over here, this is probably TMI, I took an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
And I was speaking to the guy in the car, and he was saying, he was getting ready to go back upstate to New York because he had spoken to a friend, and his friend, even though he lives here, his family's here, his daughter's here, everybody's here. He said he was going to go to New York and ride throughout the season because this is what he told me now. He said his friend texted him, showed him screenshots where he's making like 500 a day, only driving like 8 hours a day versus when he's here, he has to drive like 10, 11 hours and he's only bringing like 200 or 300 a day, he says. And so he's willing to leave his family, leave everything here just to do anything to go and get the money.
At the end of the day, I would ask myself, I would rather be home with my wife than like with a client. And yeah, I probably could get paid through the client, probably could do all that, but there's other ways to make money.
Very true. Yeah, there's other ways to make money. You don't have to do anything for the money.
One thing I would say to him and people like him is that you're not allocating your resources properly. There are multiple passive ways to make income. There's affiliate marketing. There's like, he has a vehicle. You know, there are other platforms other than Uber.
Child, he had Lyft. Sorry. I mean, he had Lyft and Uber.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but those aren't just it.
Right.
You know, if he's a ride share person, right. I think he had an SUV. There are other platforms like Bungie. Bungie is a platform where you can help people move. So if you have a truck or like a Sprinter van or a big van, right. You can say, hey, my vehicle's available if you're trying to move. A lot of these techies or people have Mini Coopers or small cars or no cars at all. And then you having a bigger vehicle, you are now an asset. So just look at everything you have and allocate your resources effectively and say, what do I have that somebody else doesn't? You know, maybe he's of a Haitian descent. Maybe he's of a Spanish descent. You could become a translator. Maybe he has a camera that he's not using. He can rent it out on ShareGrid. There's so many different ways.
Those people out because he's like, how am I going to be translating for somebody? Or like, no, you brought me back to your initial thought where you said there's the war on ignorance, but he's the perfect example of you don't know what you don't know.
I know. But my thing is, it bothers me that there. All right. Yeah, there's a little TMI. It's TMI here, but it pisses me off when I see someone. I feel like I'm getting one up over me like all the time. Like, gosh, this guy got me. I'm not going to get got again. You know, but I'm saying in general, like, there could be somebody just walking around throughout the day. Wow, he's free 8 hours a day.
Right.
Gosh, and somehow through the trickling of all the flipping and all how the money rolls, I'm getting screwed over.
I get what you're saying. Like, you would prefer to own your time versus having your time own you. Yes. I get that. And that's my thing too. And it's funny you say that because a lot of people wonder, especially because I do my readings in the house, how is she always in the house? Or she can just go here and I got to go to work or do this. I like my time being my own. Yeah. So you're right. I'm willing to invest the energy, the time, the effort to find that thing. Like you said, what is it that I offer? Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm the best at it. That's one of the reasons I like to network with people like you, because Guil is a thinking man. So he's going to give you some insight on, look, you didn't try this.
Yeah, this morning, I have a client friend of mine. There's something called URL redirect. So if let's say you have, you're doing readings. Do you have a website?
I'm working on that now. I'm putting that together. Okay. I'm working on that now, actually.
So let's say you have a website, starreadings.com. And let's say you wanted to create a link that you can easily remember, but don't want to create a page for it. So you can say starreadings.com/call when they call, like calling. Okay. So they can do starreading.com/call. And once they go on that link, it'll be a random website for a Google Drive, a PDF file. Let's just say you have a podcast episode. Hey, y'all, thanks for listening to this podcast. as a special gift and a thank you for listening, I'm going to give you a free guide. Go to starreading.com/guide. That website doesn't exist. It's just a link to somewhere. And that's called URL redirect. And it boggles
See, Guil just gave y'all some insight there. Take note of that.
So Squarespace has this thing called 301 redirect, where I can have an infinite amount of redirects where my Amazon link is like amazon.com/book/QQ222. And if I'm promoting my book and you say, Guil, can you send me a link to your book? And I'm like, yeah, just go to Amazon and type it. But I don't want you to have that step. I would say, no, go to guildormeus.com/book. That website doesn't exist. That website is just a redirect to Amazon.
Okay.
What ends up happening
I didn't know about that. See,
what ends up happening is this is a self-promotion where you're typing in my website name. It looks professional. It's clean. And another thing is easy to remember.
Okay. So, but you already have to have the website.
You have to have the domain. Yes.
Okay.
You have to have the domain name, and you just can create as many redirects. So I have guildormeus.com/eCam, which is an affiliate link to eCam. Right. So when people download it, I get a commission from that.
And eCam is a program for the Mac, just for those that don't know, because everybody's not as tech as you, Guil.
No, but my whole thing is like, there's always a way to do something.
Yes, and you're willing to find them.
And like I have a newsletter. Go to guildormeus.com/newsletter, and I create a newsletter every Monday. And I have one of my friends, Tanya, she's like, I love your layout of your newsletter. You design it so well. It looks so good. Right. And I'm like, oh, there's got to be a way for me to share it with you. I figured out a way to download my newsletter template and give it to her. And you know what? As me and her were talking, she's like, I wonder if you can sell this. I go to Etsy and you can sell newsletters.
Yeah,
you can sell newsletter templates.
The template, yes.
So I created one, and I gave it to her because she liked the way that I set it up. And we found out that we can put it on Etsy, Fiverr, and I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And
people will buy it.
People will buy it. But my whole thing is to the gentleman, the Uber driver / Lyft driver.
Right. He could have found something.
There's so many different ways to
he should have been talking to you and not me, because I didn't have any ways for him. I was just like...
But to me, I'm like I said before, I'm a very empathic person. So everything that I do, I like to think about 3 to 5 different people that, how can they use this? Oh, this is how I can use this. I wonder if Tiffany can use this. I wonder if Bethany can use this. I wonder if this is great for Greg. And I was like, oh, this is great for Eric. And then I'm just putting
That's what makes you a good consultant. Being a consultant, you'd have to be able to help others find solutions to their problems. Yeah. So that's something, because you do consulting
I do content
also.
Consulting, yep.
And so as we're wrapping up, Guil, then tell my audience how they can find you. Well, you know what? Let's wrap it up, and then let's give them the links as to how they can find you. So as we're wrapping this episode up, guys, remember that every successful entrepreneur was once a beginner, right? You started somewhere, Guil, right? And that the journey can be challenging. Yes, it can, but it can also be immensely rewarding. So whether you're navigating the uncertainties, or you're learning from your setbacks, or you're celebrating even the small wins of learning a new tech device or a new trade, or meeting someone through networking, or it's a big victory and you met someone at an event, as we met at the
podcast
summit with David Shands and
Donnie Wiggins.
That was a great event. I met so many people there.
I met a lot of people. I'm still talking to a lot of people.
Yeah, so am I. Well, and that's how I met Guil, guys. So that's how we came together. So shout out to Donnie and David for putting that together. And if you guys didn't get to attend, I think it's an annual event.
It's an annual event. Hopefully it's in Miami again.
Hopefully it is in Miami again, because that was something that was so great. That's why I attended it. And And I don't regret it. Like, seriously, a lot of people that I met at that podcast, you're right. I'm still connected with them on Instagram. But
the app is still running too. I don't know if you know that.
It is.
Yeah.
No, I do. And
Yeah.
and I actually still got some requests from people. Yeah. But you're the only one I actually really connected with and got like we're actually putting something together.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there's not still opportunities for those of you who are at the podcast summit to reach out. Let's get something together. But yeah, I'm so grateful for events like that. So networking and mentorship were very big in that. And those were what I consider the bigger victories, you know? And those bigger victories helped me to now take personal small wins.
Yes.
Thank you. So what I wanted to say is it is a unique and very transformational journey. But as it shapes you, you also shape your business. And it's an unique experience. So don't doubt yourself. It is possible. Take the small steps that are necessary and enjoy the journey of entrepreneurship. I want to thank you guys for joining me here at the Sacred Alchemy Roundtable. Thank you, Guil, for joining me on this interview.
Okay.
And until next time, guys, keep embracing the sacred alchemist in you.